Alright, this is going to be page 4. And we're still incorporating this in. So that's not going anywhere. It says, when using MIDI servos, so it's not a typo if they're continually putting it. I would say it's probably just a language thing. They just thought that was right maybe, but using mini servos for the throttle, swap sides. So again, it's the same concept here. But all my servos are going to be standard size. So on the other side here, it says large opening at the top for subsequential ball bearing installation. So this is probably the same bearing as before for, my guess was, the starter shaft for the engine. So we'll see. Alright, let's go ahead and open it all up. Now this is individually bagged. Inside of this individually bagged main section, pieces of frame. So this was actually individually wrapped, but this was broken open. So the two were actually together in the same, but probably didn't mean to do that. I don't see any type of scratches, so it's all good. And you got your carbon pieces with one full size and one mini. So some different plates here. Not sure what that is. All the hardware with a bunch of red anodized call them washers. I call them, yeah, well, they're washers. Just washers for the top of the head of the bolt. Washers for the heads of the bolt. Alright, and obviously these are going to be the tail mounts. Again, there's no real step-by-step process here. It just gives you some pictures and you got to do your best. So I'm trying to do my best without having to take stuff back apart. So let's put everything in place like it shows. It's like that. It wants this plate on top is set backwards, and no, that's for the top of the tail, or the tail part. So that's not even going to do anything just yet. I'm saying you can't. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on, but now that I'm looking at it a little bit better, I can see that it's falling down onto the top of the tail pieces. So I think the best thing to do here is go ahead and get these side pieces. And it says to swap if we're using mini, but I'm not going to do that. So we'll start with the full size. And this is just like the other ones, I imagine. Yeah, they fall right into place on these. Excuse me. And are a decent fit here. I mean, they're tight. Some of them pop in, some of them don't. But they're still tight enough to know that they're not moving anywhere. It's tight. It's going to use the 303s, which is the M38s. So, yeah, that's what I was using before. And we're putting the washers on those as well. Just go ahead and tighten them down. Trying to use that for the Allen key. How about that? I need to twist this a little bit. My battery was dying on this, and I'm having to use a cord now, and I couldn't find the other batteries I've had forever. I had them in my truck. They're no longer there. So, oh god dang. Cable, it is. All right, that side is in. Before I put the other side in, I'm gonna look and see if there's anything. It don't look like anything's going to go in between these two frames. So, I guess it's okay. I'm just gonna put this side on. We'll see what happens. But there's nothing that goes in between them, doesn't look like. So, I mean, there is these, but they're individual pieces, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. Man, I got Loctite on the manual. It was bound to happen. There we go. Got it that time. Alright, those pieces are in. Looking just like the manual. So in that pack, I just opened, it only had one of these in there. And I'm going to guess, because the manual does say 2. Side plate back, which this goes back here, like so. Oh wait, hold on, I'm wrong. Where'd it go? Oh, that's right. The top here. Oh yeah, there we go. It goes like that. So what I was saying is, there's only one in that pack I just opened. They called me and said, hey, there's a crucial part missing in your kit, and it's going to be a few more days before we ship it. We're waiting on those parts to come in. I bet you that's it. So let me go back in the box here and look. And I am right. There it is. So I can only imagine that was missing out of the kit, since it wasn't in the main pack I just opened. So there's the other piece. Didn't let me know which part was missing. They just said, hey, we're missing something, and we don't want to send it to you without that piece. So just want to call and let you know what the holdup was. And I was in real no big rush here, obviously, since it's been a few weeks. Time is running short nowadays. For hobbies, having a 2-year-old. So just do the best I can with this. The reason I'm able to do this is my wife went on a work trip and will be gone until this Thursday. And I'm going to have plenty of time at night now to do this type of stuff when he goes to sleep. So otherwise, we'd be spending time together, me and my wife. Got to make sure you do that. Spend time with your wife. Spend time with your girlfriend. Let them know you love them. All right. So I guess I will go ahead and put these together on the back, and then we'll go ahead and put the metal frame pieces together after. Because I feel like it won't be a problem, but hey, what do I know? I probably might have to take stuff back apart, like I've already done. So. Tighten her down. I usually sit here and watch something, whatever it might be, while I'm building. I used to smoke a bunch while I sat here and built. I've quit that. I haven't quit totally, but I did quit doing it on a regular basis. And I'm feeling much better since I've quit that. So now it's giving me, I feel, more motivation to do stuff like this. Film videos. Maybe my mistakes will help you guys out. Maybe you'll find some mistakes that I'm doing and I'm not even seeing. I've been doing it for 20 years and I'm not afraid or ashamed to let you guys know that I'm not perfect. But I do enjoy stuff like this. I enjoy building things and doing the best that I can do to Alright, I'm having some issues here. Thought that was all the way down, but it's not. Take that screw out and look at it. There it goes. It's like it was hanging up, but it's down now. We're good. But yeah, I just like to, like I said, do the best I can and build things, fly them or drive them or whatever. I actually just currently am into mini bikes. Just started that. I might start posting some build videos and stuff like that too. I'm currently building one, but I have not videoed any of that. Anyway, so that's together, the back frame, the front frame of the lower half. Actually, this is the lower and upper half, but that's together. So now we're going to continue with the aluminum parts, which I'm looking. I think. Let me not guess. All right, yeah, there we go. So this goes towards the outside. Yeah. So this will go in there like that. And then this yeah, look at that. Those two insert into this frame rail. Look how precise that stuff is. See that little curve there in it, or notch, but there's no gaps, no nothing. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that goes together like that. Let's see. I'm trying to figure this out, y'all. So the bearing, it says the large openings at the top for subsequential ball bearings. So this goes upwards like this. And I don't think these matter either. Those are the same exact. So these will go like that, and then these go into that like that, and then these back ones go in. All right, so there is a thing here, but we can spread the frames apart to get them in. So I'd say let's just notch those into there, bolt those down, and then we can work on these front ones. So I'll start with the back. Tighter down. tight. Now we'll go ahead and do the front ones. I don't like that they use these red washers. Wish they would have went with black. There's nothing red on this helicopter. I mean, the canopy is pink, yellow, white, and black, and gray. Nothing else is red on this. So why they choose red on these washers, I don't know. But black would have been great. All right, so that side is in. I still haven't bolted these together yet. So let's just go ahead and do that. What size bolts do those need? It says I'm looking. It says 303. And it's only on one. And I think it's the back hole back here. So 303 is what I've been using, but without a washer. So sorry for the pause. Like I said, there's no instructions, man. So I am looking at pictures and going with it. But it wants it in this back hole. Tighten it in. The front hole is being left open for now. So I imagine later we're going to tighten something else into that one. So, all right, so that is it for this side. Let's flip it over and do the other side. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the camera. It's like the screen's flipped on the other side. Or flip around on the front side of the screen, but it's still recording the right way. So, all right, so we're gonna put these front ones in. 303 screws, which are the M3 by 8 long. This tube does good without having to put it in a little bowl and dip the screws in. I really don't like doing it that way because it really doesn't get fully on the bolts, especially when the fluid starts getting low. But it does good for what I'm doing right here, as you can see. But sometimes it wants to just pour all out on it, and it's probably just because of me not paying close enough attention. Just a little bit, and then we're gonna I need to put this on first. This goes like that, and then there it goes. There we go. Starting to look like something now. Put one more of these in with a washer, and then one more in the frame rail itself without a washer. And then, I believe, oh no, we still got that plate in the boom mounts to do. So I believe we'll not be done with this page. We still got some more. Alright. But we are looking like something. Looking good. Alright, so now let's continue looking at pictures and trying to figure it out. It looks like these are pointed on the left side of the frame, I imagine. Yeah, left side. Yeah. So it's going to go like this. And it's the same type of concept here, man. These little rises go into these holes. And I could have put them in first back here, but it's not really a big deal because I can Bear with me. This is interesting. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm good. All right. I said it was interesting because the holes are not straight up and down. They're actually curved like this. They're curved like that, like a V shape. But these aren't straight up and down. So you do have to make sure that you're putting them in the right way, which, like I said, this is on the left side of the frame. So if you do like that, you're good. But yeah, that's why they're not straight, because these are curved just like the holes are, so we're good. So yeah, just going to go ahead and tighten all 4 of these down and then put the top plate on. I do like these little drop downs. I know what those are for. That's for the tail servo. So the tail will be, unlike the Strike 7.1 Lite or even the regular Strike, the tail is mounted on the boom. I've never been a big fan of servo mounted on the tails. So I do appreciate this Paul having the servo mounted on or in the frame. Still kind of on the tail, but part of the frame mounting rails and whatnot. So it's nice. All right, so I've already messed up here. I put in 4 screws on this side and 1 on this side so far, and all I have is 1 more screw left. So that's telling me that they didn't want me to put all of the screws in. And it doesn't say that anywhere in the notes. So let me look at the pictures closely and see what's going on. So on this side, if it's just like the picture is, it is telling me to go ahead and put all 4 in on this side. I cannot see the other side though. So I don't know. I don't know. So I guess what I'll do is put this one in. Look a little bit more. You got this one going in that hole, that one in that. So it's got lines on all 4 going through the holes to mount to the tail boom mounts. But that's it. Doesn't show the other side. So again, I'm not sure. There's only 2 bolts left out of that whole hardware kit there. I'm going to leave it as is for now and then keep moving on and see what happens. But I mean, maybe I should take 2 out and put on this side since it's showing it on this side. But I'm not going to worry about it for now. I'm just going to go on to the next page. After I put this on, which this is showing the Soxox logo back. Which that's the way it has to be, honestly, because it's cut out thinner up here than back there. So you wouldn't be able to get this in between those frame rails. So it's got to be that way. All right, go ahead and put this in. and then we'll be finished with page 4. Let's go ahead and lightly put the first screw in so we can get the next screw in without issue. And then we'll tighten those 2 down. They will center themselves as these are countersunk holes on top of this plate. So you can always rest assured that you did get the top of the plate right by putting the countersunk holes upwards. Alright, those are all tight, and we're done with page 4. That took 31 minutes. Alright, page 5 is wanting me to, and probably the last page I'm going to do tonight, as it is 9:35, and I'm tired, and I'm ready to go to bed, to be honest with you. But it's wanting me to join the top half with the bottom half I built earlier on page 1. So we're going to do that and then call it a night. So there's the 2 halves. And there is the bag for page 5 hardware and a few little pieces of aluminum to probably join the 2 together. So let's see. All the hardware is out. Pieces are out as well. All right, there is no notes on this page. It's just a picture, so we'll see what happens here. Looks like this is for the engine mounting. It goes directly on the front of this part. Unfortunately, it's not like the rest where it has the raised collars, if you will call them, to go into the frame and center it. It just kind of slides in and bolts to it. So I reckon it's to make it easy to take the engine out. Just take those 4 bolts out on each side and take the engine out. My guess. So we'll see. So let's start with these pieces. They do have those excuse me, raised edges, and they go right here on each side. But that's to go there like so to meet up with this and mount the 2 together. I do have to put these in first, and then the frame goes in next. Let me figure it out. All right, that's where I went wrong on the last page, and that's probably why I'm missing the 2 bolts. I didn't put these 2 bolts in. I didn't need to. They go on the back side of this. So I'm going to take these 2 bolts out so that this will slide down, and I'll be able to slide a longer bolt into those. So I'll take these 2 out, put them right here, and we'll be good. That Loctite was working. It popped out. That's nice to hear. That means we need to put some more on though. What'd you call me? Some more on. All right, there we go. Now we got those bolts in. So now that I have those out, this will slide in to those 2 pieces like so. The front will slide down. And I've got something cool to show you once I get this together. Let me see what bolts go where though. All right, we got 142s. We got 8 of those. So those are gonna be the longer ones. 8 of them, and then we got the shorter ones. Well, there's some shorter than others, so let me separate those. 2 of those shortest ones, and then looks like 8 of the other ones. So 8 of the longest, 8 of the middle, mid-size, and then 2 of the short. So I'm gonna guess. Let's see. 3 of the bolts. I said the 142s. Yeah, the longest ones are gonna go through the whole side of the frame. There's 8 of them, so 4 on each side. Each of these do get a washer that goes onto the head. Start with this back one. Slide her on in. And she is in. Just a bit of a snug. Then I'm going to go to the front so I can make sure that front is centering the other 2 holes that I'm going to put bolts in. Which honestly, it's already centered. And I'll show you why. So now that I got those 2 in, I'm going to tighten them down. But check this out. I don't know if you can see it. I'll flip it over so you can see it. But those frame rails and that carbon piece totally mesh together in with each other. So like I was saying throughout this whole thing so far, all this is such tight fitment. The frames lock into each other. The carbon pieces even lock into each other. This is pretty precise. I can show you there. See how that, I haven't bolted this yet, but see how that goes. Slide. I mean, it's the resistance to it and everything. It slides down into that lower frame rail or carbon frame side. That's pretty cool. All right, get these other 2 on this side. Get the other side, and then we will start putting the engine mounting block or whatever you want to call it in. I'll tell you what, so far I'm pretty pleased with this. I was a bit worried about it at first because it did seem a bit fragile by looking at it on pictures and videos and whatnot. But so far, this isn't fragile. This is going to be probably pretty tough. Maybe not the toughest out there, but it is going to be pretty tough. Curious to fly it and see how it fares well. Is that what you'd say? How it holds up. How it just the overall strength of how well it holds up. There goes another dump on that screw, so I'll just kind of save it and put it on this next screw. Heads up so it doesn't get rubbed off. So this screw is not wanting to go straight in for some reason. Huh. Maybe I just need to put a little bit of pressure on it. No. I'm having to thread this one in all the way for some reason. And the only threads are at the very end of the inner frame, so I'm not sure why that was so hard. Right there, see, like that one slid right in. I'm not sure. It'll be alright though. Alright, that was good. We got one more. Slid right in, that's nice. Alright, so upper and lower is attached. The smaller screws go at the very front of the frame. Gonna put those in. So these aren't going right in. These aren't lining up perfectly for whatever reason. I'm going to go ahead and loosen these bolts that's holding the top frame rail to this front piece. Yeah, there it goes. So the washers, I was just kind of noticing it, but the washers was keeping the top frame rail from seating completely to the bottom frame because the washer is slightly bigger and was hitting the frame. So once I did that, I'm able to pull it down, and it lines perfectly up. So we'll go ahead and put this one in. Sliding right in now. So now I'll tighten this one down and then tighten these back down. And we'll hope that the thread lock is still going to do its job. Yeah, that's nice. That actually straightened that up really good. So I'm probably going to have to do the same on this side. Yeah, let's just do the same thing. Run a small one. That's the last of the washers and the last of the small, which are the M3/8s. Pull this frame rail down, screw this in, tighten her up, and then tighten the other two back up. All right, so that's that. So now we got 8 more bolts, 4 for each side of this engine mounting plate or block. So we'll go ahead and start putting that in, and then that'll be it for page 5. And that'll be it for the end of the night. And we'll probably do some more tomorrow, which tomorrow here is going to be Sunday, the 15th. Yeah, it's March 14th now. So it'll be the 15th. I'll start on getting to page 6, but it will be tomorrow night once my little buddy goes to bed. Plus I got my buddy coming over he wants me to help him weld his little mini bike together. So I'm going to have a little bit of welding going on tomorrow. Hell, I might get him to do some videoing on that. That'd be a good chance to do that, actually. So yeah, I'll do that. I'm not tightening these down yet. I'm just now that I got it in, I'll stand it back up. But let's just go ahead and get all the bolts in before I wrench them down. All right, 4 on that side, or this side. Tighten down. Flip it around, get the other side. Oh, I go dumping again, but I was able to suck it back up through the neck of the Loctite tube there, so we're good. All right, tighten it down. All right, that is it. All my tools up over there. We got to page 5. That took me 17 minutes to put the 2 frames together. Wasn't too bad. That's not too bad, man. I think, I don't know what it all added up to, but I feel like that probably took me about an hour and a half or so to get all this together. I'm really pleased so far with this build. It's all precise. It's all very well manufactured, and precision is on key or on point. So I feel like it's going to be stronger than it looks, is my opinion. It looks to be like a skeleton almost. Like it's lightweight for a reason, because there's not much to it. But the way they've constructed this, how pieces fit together, it's going to be very rigid and strong in flight. So I'm excited to fly it and see. And the gear is very flimsy, like I said earlier. I mean, that's probably going to save some hard landings maybe without breaking, but we'll see. But yeah, tomorrow, page 6, looks like we're getting into the gearing, main gear. So we'll start on that. Yeah, main gearing. So realistically, I mean, there ain't a whole lot left, man. The build usually goes by pretty quickly, and I think everybody can agree with me. Once you get to the part of installing servos and wiring, it gets a bit lengthy because, well, it depends on how OCD you are, actually. I'm pretty OCD. I'm not a Jeff West, by all means. I don't go wrapping all my wires, but I do run them in a way that won't chafe them or or damage them in any way that will cause you to wreck because one grounded out on the frame or something. So I like to make sure that's all done pretty neatly and not against the framing or anything. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the most time consuming, I think. And, we'll see how that goes when we get there. I don't know. Just looking at the frame now, I'm not sure how that wiring is going to be ran or anything yet. So, we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you the next time. All right, I am back here the next day, the 15th of March. We ended it on page 5 last night. I got this completely built up and standing on its own. Page 6 is all of this has 2 bags, one with a tail belt and gearing for the main shaft, along with the belt for the main shaft as well. I'll go ahead and start getting all this opened up, all the hardware. Main belt. Made by 3M with Soxox stamped on it. I'd assume this is the main head feathering shaft, or maybe actually the gearing. Sorry, that's not the feathering shaft. That's the gear. One of the main shafts for the main gear. That is the one-way bearing. It's got some grease inside this baggie here to keep it light, lubed up, I'd imagine. Let's see. Yep. I'll keep that right there on top of that bag. Got the slant gear there. Got a straight tail gear probably, and then just straight straight main gear for the belt. this over there with that bearing. Then open this belt, have it ready. All right, so the short direction on here says, first, lightly seat the screws, then tighten them evenly. That's on the main gear. This tail gear connected to the slant gear. And then on B says glue in ball bearings with strong thread lock. And then same down here for the bottom and top, with the one-way bearing in the middle of both bearings. Again, I'm not going to glue these in. I've looked ahead of the build, and these are going to be squished together, so there's really no point in gluing those bearings in, especially with the one-way bearing in between the two. I'd hate for any glue to get down and get onto this and cause it to fail in any way, so I'm going to leave it alone. All right, so on the first A here, page 6A, has this little fella here. Looks like, it looks like it's sent that way. So it wants us to put this on first. Looks like it's got the countersunk holes on the gear itself, so it'll center itself as we tighten it. Get all these bearings out of the way. Slightly snug it down until I get all three in there. Pretty much what the directions said at the bottom down there. First, lightly seat the screws, and then tighten them evenly. There's only 3 of these countersunk style bolts in the kit here, or in this baggie, so I really didn't have to look hard for them. So, and then I'll just do like I did on the other one, so I've just kind of tighten them down, and then the last one I'll really kind of get into it, tighten it down, and then finish the last 2 off. Alright, so that top part's in. Now it's saying put this. This is not countersunk, it's just straight up holes, but it does, centers. So this is a bit loose on the top part, but it gets a little bit thicker at the very bottom where this bolts to it. So it really, you can feel it. It's centered on that. Just by simply bolting it down, it's already centered. So on this, it's saying use the 354s, which are a rounded head style, and the M8. So yeah, it's these here. And just like the other top, I'll start them all, seat them to the bottom until it lightly tightens up, and then get the other 2 in and tighten them down. Alright, so that's done. Page 6, part A. Part B is this fella with these bigger bearings. Or wait. So this bearing is a bit bigger than the bottom side, so we'll just slide this one in And it says, as far as this bearing goes, excuse me, it does state to grease it. So I got some let's see what I got. Transmission grease, high pressure, corrosion. No, I don't want that. I got some of this Bodo lube. Water's in extreme pressure. I'm just checking it to see. I think this will do though. Doesn't really specifically say what it's for. Just improved adhesion and mobility, specifically in presence of water, enhanced extreme pressure, and anti-wear performance designed with RC helicopter stresses in mind. So yeah, this just a high temp grease that has a ability to keep everything greased well and for adhesion too, so it'll stick. So I guess that's what we use. Now it does specify that this is up, so, and it is showing you the direction of these little I don't even know what you call these in here, but that's what's actually catching the shaft in there. But it has a certain direction that they go, which the way I have it now is the correct way, so that way is up. But I'm just going to just kind of squeeze some of this into this and then grease it up with my finger, I guess. It'll go. There it goes. Yep, there it goes. So I'll just put a little bead around the top there and a little bead on the bottom. And then pull this back out so it doesn't continue going. And then I guess, like I said, just kind of spread around my finger a bit. Same on this side. And I hope it'll work itself in as it spins. Sure it will. And that is the top side still. So I'm just gonna, this was the top here, but I might have to flip it over to put it in, so I'm just gonna flip this along with it. Uh-oh. Oh, I already messed up. Okay. So yeah, I messed up. Which is a good thing. I didn't glue the bearing in. It should just slide out. Let me use, oh, what can I use? I'll go to use this. Yeah, there it goes. So I put that in first, and I shouldn't have, because if I would have looked a little closer, there's a little ledge down there at the bottom that one-way bearing sits down into, and I cannot get it in that way. So get your one-way before you put any bearings in. Make sure it's the right way, and set it straight down in. So, and that, God, that's a precision fit right there. I mean, that thing isn't even moving in there. Fit perfectly down into that. So now that I'll put this top bearing on, sandwiches it in, and you can see right there, that little lip I was talking about is holding it from going down. So I just get one of these bearings, which are all the same. Looks like, they don't look like they're any different. Same ID and OD. So I'm just gonna slide this one in down here. And that is it, looks like, for now. We got A and B done on page 6, so we'll move on to the next page. which is still 6, but we're going into C and D. On D, got this straight gear, straight main gear that the belt goes on, this belt. And we're going to flip this upside down and just set it down into there. So it does spin freely, but once in there, it does move slightly. Barely. That's interesting though. They got it where this is got a cutout for the bolt to go down through and thread into that bottom tab here. But that gear is the same way on the opposite side. It's got a cutout for the bolt to go through. So once these two meet each other, the bolts go through those two halves that make a circle and just basically get held on by one side of the bolt head on the actual gear itself. So, all right. Looks like this is pretty even to that, so I can flip it upside down and it'll be held where it needs to just by sitting there. It's saying we're still using these round head M3 8 bolts. So we'll just go ahead and start putting those in, and I'll do the same as the other two gears I just did on part A. Just start them and snug it down a little bit. Go to the opposite side. Put that one in, snug it down. Just kind of keep going back and forth. They call it a star pattern. I'm noticing as I'm putting these in, the first one was really easy to go in, and as I've kept adding bolts, it seems like there's more tension as I'm spinning them down. So it really just kind of, I mean, without even tightening them down yet, it really tightened this thing up in between the two halves that meet each other to make that hole. The last one really took some turning to get it in. So that's good. It's telling me it's tightening it up, or centering it up and tightening it up real good. So I'll just go ahead and start snugging them down a little bit and keep going to that star pattern. And then just like all the other ones, on the last one, tighten it down and then go back in that same star pattern, just kind of reversing it. That's it. So that's together, ready to go. So C6C is done. Now it's on D, and it's asking me to go ahead and start putting this all into the heli. And it wants me to actually put the tail belt in before installing the gears. So let's go ahead and slip this through. Alright, so we are through there. And I would imagine all these bearings are just going to go into these. Yep, slid right into that one. That one. And then this one goes up through the bottom, sliding upwards. This is where I thought the crankshaft for the engine was, and it might be, but it's not going in easily though. Which I prefer, I guess, because it's going upwards. So I want it to stick a little better than the ones that are going downwards, so it won't fall out. Yep, so it's stuck up in there pretty good. So I got the bearings in. Here's the gear and the main gear, and then the tail gear along with the slant gear for the, I'd assume. So that's definitely nothing to do with the starter. Because the engine is mounted up front, so I should have known that, but it's all good. That's just bearings for that gearing. That's going to be connected to the. This is going to be connected to the gear of the engine itself. That's going to go up to the front, connect to it. So anyway, so I'll put these two together with the shaft here, the mini shaft. It goes. Now this hole is not perfectly centered. So, and that's something I didn't do. Firstly, light seat the screws, then tighten them evenly. All right, so yeah, we already did that. I already knew about that. Down here it says, first, same thing, lightly seat the screws, 303, then press the bearing block downwards and tighten the screws evenly. So according to this picture, the hole is more downward on the off center than upwards. So